I want to tell you about someone I worked with not too long ago. They came to me absolutely certain that they knew what their problem was, and they were equally certain about what the solution needed to look like. They thought about it a lot. They'd tried things, they'd read things, they'd talked to people, and they had arrived at a very specific, very confident conclusion about what was wrong and what would fix it. It was just one problem. They were so focused on that problem and those solutions that they couldn't see anything else. It was like standing with your nose pressed against one tree, absolutely convinced that that's the whole forest. And just outside the frame they'd locked into, there was a whole landscape of other possibilities, other angles, other paths, things that could have worked beautifully, actually, if they'd been willing to look up for just a moment. Here's what happened when they did. Things moved fast, faster than either of us expected. Not after months of more work, not after years of digging, fast. Because the obstacle wasn't the problem they'd identified. The obstacle was the grip they had on being right about what the problem was. I've seen this so many times that it doesn't surprise me anymore, but it still amazes me every single time. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've been doing the work, maybe for a long time. You're not someone who gives up easily or avoids hard things. You've read the books. Maybe you've done journaling, therapy, maybe coaching, maybe all of the above. And you're still here, circling the same place, wondering what you're missing. I want to tell you what's actually happening because it's not what most people think. It's not that you haven't tried hard enough. It's not that you're broken. It's not that growth just takes this long. Here's what it actually is. You've been managing symptoms while the root cause keeps regenerating the same patterns underneath. And you can do that for years, decades, and never touch the actual mechanism driving the loop. That's not failure, that's just not knowing where to look. Think about it this way. Most approaches to getting unstuck work on the surface of the system. They help you feel better, think differently, behave differently. And those things matter. They're not nothing. But underneath all of that, there's a mechanism, a way your whole inner system is wired to operate. And if that mechanism is running an old program, one built from old experiences, old conclusions, old decisions about who you are and what's possible, it will keep regenerating the same patterns, no matter how much work you do on top of it. This is what loss aversion, that is, trying to avoid loss, looks like in practice. By the way, it's not just about the money, it's about the stories you've built, about your identity, what you built your identity around, the conclusions that feel so true you don't even recognize them as conclusions anymore. They just feel like reality. And here's the thing about those stories, they were true once, they made sense once, they were probably even protective once. But they're running in a system that has changed. You have changed. And the old program doesn't know that yet. The awakening process, the real one, not the Instagram version, is slow precisely because of this. Because you're not just learning new things, you're updating a system that has very good reasons for staying exactly where it is until it doesn't have to anymore. I want to ask you something, and I'd like you to actually sit with it for a moment before you answer. When you think about what's keeping you stuck, when you look at the pattern that keeps showing up, are you asking, why am I like this? Or are you asking, what is this protecting? Those are very different questions, and they lead to very different places. Why am I like this keeps you in the loop. It's a question that circles back on itself, and usually it ends up somewhere that feels a lot like blame. What is this protecting opens a door. Because here's what I've learned working with people on this for a long time. The things that look like obstacles almost always turn out to be architecture, built for a reason, serving a purpose. And once you understand what that purpose is, once you can see the mechanism clearly, you stop fighting it and things start to move. Now, I can tell you exactly, now I can't tell you exactly what your mechanism looks like. Nobody can from the outside, but here's what I can tell you. You can start to see it from the inside, and that's where I'd suggest starting. One of the most useful things you can do right now is get a clearer picture of how you're actually wired. Not how you think you should be wired, not how other people think you are, how you actually are, underneath all the compensating and managing and trying. Because once you understand the system you're operating from, a few things become possible that weren't before. You might realize the system is working exactly as designed, and you just haven't known how to use it yet. Or you might see a place where it's ready for an upgrade. Either way, you're no longer guessing. You're working with actual information about yourself, and that changes everything. If any of this is landing for you, if you recognize yourself somewhere in what I've just described, I want to suggest a place to start. I created a free soul type assessment. What is your soul type? It takes about 10 minutes, and what it does, it gives you a real picture of how you specifically are wired, how your inner system is actually built to operate, where you're naturally drawn, and where you'll keep running into the same walls until you understand what they're really asking of you. It's not a personality test. It's not about putting you in a box. It's a map, your map. And having that map changes the conversation with yourself and with anyone you work with. The link is in the description. It's free. It takes 10 minutes, and it might be the most useful 10 minutes you spend this week. I also want to mention if you're feeling like you're standing at some kind of threshold right now, like something is shifting, but you're not quite sure what, I'm hosting a free live session on April 9th called Why It Feels Like This. Small group, real conversation, no pitch, just clarity about what's actually happening when it feels like this. Link to register is in the description. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Healing the Wanting Masterclass begins April 15th. Early bird pricing is available through April 7th, also in the description. Look, if you've been doing everything right and still feel stuck, you're not doing it wrong. Your mechanism is just miscalibrated, and that can change. I'm Nancy Boyd. I'm the Soul Mechanic, and I'll see you in the next one.